Hello fellow Vikings, my name is Odin. So today we are going to do a better bee guide. Today I'm going to go over finding bees, how to get a queen bee, constructing an apiary or hive, and the reasons why you want to do this, and then we're going to go into some more advanced sort of beekeeping knowledge about placement of these bees, because it can get a little bit weird in particular, and I've heard things that are one way and then I've tried it and it's fine, very conditional. So we're going to go into that. First things first, you're running through the forest and you hear this like humming, buzzing, right? That's the sound you want to listen for. I actually heard this from way over there and I just kind of followed my ears to this here place and tracked it down. And so what you're looking for is that there hive. That's kind of hard to see with that after effect going on there, but that's... Ouch! That's the beehive. Now that is actually, it looks like a poison effect, and it probably mechanically works the same way, but basically it's bees that are attacking you, stinging you for being too close to their hive. Alright, a few ways to do this is we can smash this entire structure down with, say, a club or an axe. Pwah! But you want to be doing that over there. Next, you can use your bow and arrows. 6, and we shoot the thing. Bam! Okay? Or, you can use your hammer, and you can craft yourself a workbench, right? And then dismantle the whole thing. Alright, so my favorite way to get these bees out is to use the long distance shot. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're just going to pull out our bow and equip even like a wooden arrow. And we take a shot. Boom! Now, if you are close, you actually will get stung by the bees. Like if you're in this building, you will get attacked by the bees. Alright, and so there we go. Another queen bee. Don't forget to check chests. They have goodies in them. Alright, let's try the other methods. Probably the most dangerous method now, because why not? We live safe. Now let's live a little dangerously. You just start chopping away at this thing. The bees are gonna get you. Just watching a video and I was saying that like beekeepers didn't even have bee suits for like the first 7,000 years of beekeeping or something. It's just like, what? That's madness. So this is what we're gonna try to do. Maybe though, regenerate your health and stamina every now and then. Ooh, that's how you destroy those vines. Kinda curious about that. Interestingly enough, you can actually use the honey to make yourself a nice mead for stamina regeneration. Now, doing it this way is definitely the slowest way to do this. And there it goes. That'll drop the beehive and the queen bee. Alright, so that was the most dangerous and slowest way to actually get a bee out of a building. Alright, so resource-wise, this is probably the best way. It's also fairly safe. So, just don't step too close to the beehive and you should be fine. We hit whatever our build tool is, our hammer, and we put down a workbench. That makes this whole area something that we can work on, right? So, obviously you could repair, but you can also destroy. So, you get the idea. Kind of like the last one where we just basically rip the house down. And at some point, its supports will all fail. There it goes. I was worried about the vines. See, and that way is also pretty darn safe, Okay, let's go back to a base and try this out. Alright, so I'm going to hop into another game where the actual reasons for having bees starts to become a little more apparent. Let's go take a look. The main reason for having the honey is so that you can get meads. Now, this so far is the only one I have absolutely needed, is this frost resistance mead. That mead is one that I have definitely needed. I've done without the poison resistance one in the swamp. That's okay. It's not always good times, but hey, it is doable without. So you have the honey, and generally you need one of these cauldrons. Now, the cauldrons have all these different mead bases, right? And as you can see, they have honey in them. Now they have different things that need to go in each one. so that you can make them, and it's not too bad. I mean, this one will be a bit trickier for you because cloudberries are in the plains, and plains aren't necessarily easy. But once you have your mead base actually made, one of the things you have to do is then create yourself a fermenter. And the fermenters, well, they are just a whole different thing. You have to basically take that mead base, you put it in here, and you wait like a day in-game. Maybe a day and a half. Then it ferments, and you'll press E, and it'll cough out a bunch of stuff down here, which will be some kind of mead. And yeah, that's pretty much all you gotta do. So that is like one of the most important uses for mead. So the other main reason to have honey is because it's just straight up an awesome food, right? You look at it, and it does 20 health, 20 stamina, which is okay. Duration 300 ticks, but the healing is 5 hit points per tick. Now, I generally kind of advocate for 3 different types of meat. In an early game, it might be something like kale, just meat, and say fish, depending on what you can get. And yeah, well, eventually, you know, like this one here is 40, 30, 2 health per tick, but it lasts basically 4 times as long as the honey. And eventually, yeah, you'll get sausages, which are also quite big, but, you know, the healing and stuff isn't quite as good as the honey is. The honey is just a really good healing food. But then you also have, like, cooked lox meat, eventually, which is also quite tasty, quite good for you, but also not quite as good at healing. Like I said, you know, it is a magnificent food, and it can be used for meads, and meads are helpful in the swamp, and helpful for getting up a frosty mountain. So in my unfinished Viking hall/factory, let's actually just construct this hive, and let's just see how this goes. Right, so this is the beehive right here, and it requires 10 wood, a queen bee, and a workbench. So I have a workbench there, and a couple other ones around, just so I can have this whole place built. Yeah, all you need to do is right-click once you're on your hammer, and hit beehive, and it'll use your queen bee and 10 wood. And that's just, you know, the normal wood you get from fir trees or beech trees. And yeah, now you have a hive. There it is. Uh-oh. Changing weird weather. Let's quickly check this. Says the bees are sleeping. Happy honeybees will produce about 1 to 4 honey a day. I'm going to say it takes about 12 hours for one, based on my earlier testing. So, you know, just keep checking back. But it is a renewable resource, so it's awesome. Now, keep in mind, it has to be sunny outside for the bees to do their thing. They really don't like the damp rain. And it just, you know, makes it hard for them. So, right now, if you check these bees, they are sleeping. At night, they also sleep. If it's sunny, they're happy. Hopefully they're happy. Now this is what I was going to say about, there are a little bunch of conditions here that, you know, people ask questions about, like, can you have them indoors? And can you have them off the ground? Can you have them, like, what's the spacing? So let's talk about that. Alright, and when the sun comes back out, you can hear them buzzing again. So let's just check. Bees are happy. Wonderful. Now this one here is sort of inside. It's raised up off the ground, right, by the terraformed dirt, so it is kind of near the ground. And you check it, and the bees are actually happy. So having a roof over top of them, they don't actually care about. Having some hole beside them, they don't care. That's fine. Now then, and as you notice too, that's actually on like a floorboard. It's not actually on the dirt, so that doesn't seem to matter. There was 2 honey in that one. That's only been up for about a day, so there you go. Maybe 2 to 3 per day is a more accurate estimate. Okay, so you can also place them up on posts, right? Quite easily. They go up there. Let's actually try something. I hadn't thought of this one, but it just sort of hit me, so let's try one. Boom. Yeah, this is kind of what I thought. The bees need more open space. And I think I know why. Let's just move some things around. Okay. So I don't hear any bees? Nope. Still not happy. Bees need more open space. Okay. So that doesn't work. So if they're on a wall, that doesn't work. And that made sense to me. I think this will work. So that bee there doesn't actually work. That's a little surprising, considering another experiment that I have. It must have to do with the roof. So there's lots of little subtleties all around here. Anyway, that one is working. So it's up there on that post underneath one thatched roof. This one here is way up off the ground. They're happily making honey, so that's awesome. And I was thinking, hey, maybe it's even like the distance between posts, right? So it's like over here, I made one. Nope, they're happily making honey. So as you can see, this is, you know, single hives all over the place is mostly okay. And now I think this is where it starts coming down to some other interesting issues, which will hopefully, you know, be able to show you. Now this one here is the bees need more open space, meaning that there's too much stuff crowding them. Now I happen to know that this particular spot in my base gives me the shelter buff. Now I think if you have any place that gives you the shelter buff, that is a bad place to put a bee, because they won't be able to get in and out for whatever reason. The reason for this is because there's 2 walls around it and a roof. So even though the bees should easily be able to get into there, I mean, heck, look at the bees that somehow sneak into some of the places in houses. Whew, kind of crazy. Well, let's just examine this a little more carefully. Now these bees here, they're clustered quite close together, but there's only 3 of them, you know, I'm like, yeah, okay, sure. But guess what? The bees are happy. They're happy little bees. Now I was thinking, what happens if you have a really crowded apiary area, right? We got all of these bees surrounding this middle bee, right? But you hit click on this beehive, those bees are happy. They don't care. In fact, all of these bees, I believe, are happy little bees. Yep, happy little bees. Now, as you saw inside, there are some weird things going on with roofs and walls, right? So, yeah, I experimented with this, and I'm like, okay, well, maybe what will work here? Now, this little, I don't know, grid building, stand, is, you know, got this beehive, and they're happy. You know, they're just up and raised up, and they have 1 wall beside them. They don't care. That's happiness for bees. And then we have this one here. It's got a roof over top and 1 wall, plus the floor. And they're happy. They're making honey, so that's cool. This one, though, I was really surprised by this one. This one I wasn't surprised by. This has 1, 2 walls and a roof. The bees need more open space. That makes sense to me. This one, on the other hand, I was like, what? Because as soon as you add this second wall here, these bees, they don't like it. And they say that they need more open space. Let's take another look and see what's going on. Right? Now we have palisades. Now, what? These bees here are making honey, and they're happy. They have palisades on 3 sides of them, plus a roof. So that's an interesting result, right? As well, I was like, okay, that's something. Because I had seen a bunch of hives that had palisades all around them, and I couldn't understand, like, how is that possible that they're not, you know, feeling like they need more space. So there's maybe 2 experiments that I want to try real quick. I'm going to put a floor underneath, and we're going to see what happens then. And then we're going to raise the floor and see what happens. That apiary. And then what I had done is I actually made the palisades like as close as possible, which is that close, right? Super duper close, as close as I can get them. And that did not seem to stop them at all, right? Boom. Those bees are still happy bees. I wanted to check this out, though, was that what happens if I blocked in all 4 sides? You can see the bees. The bees are still out and about. And on this one here, those are still happy bees. Even though they're thoroughly protected against anything that comes by. Now, there's a reason why I have kind of started to get into this, is because you also do have to protect your bees against bad guys, right? If you have one of those events where, you know, the forest creatures come by, even them, they can destroy these things. If the forest is awake, then, you know, those great dwarves will come and rip apart your apiaries, and that'll be that for them. Anyway, that test complete. Now we have some raised up bees, and we're going to go over here. I'm just going to finish off the build here. This way it's sort of similar to this design, and hopefully it should still be fine. I mean, I don't see why not. Now we also need to add a roof to the other one just as a check, and that should be pretty good. Pretty darn close there. Two roofs on. Seems like it's well roofed. And those bees are still coming out, so I think they're happy little bees. And I'm still seeing bees coming in and out of those hives. So as far as I'm concerned, those palisades keep those bees quite happy. Alright guys, I hope that allows you to kind of grasp what the bees need for space, how to make them, how to get them, what you use the bees for, so like mead, mostly. So if you learned anything from this video and found it useful, then hit that like button. Possibly subscribe, share with some friends, because that really helps. And if you are new to the channel and want to learn more about Valheim, definitely hit that subscribe button, because I am coming out with more and more videos all the time about Valheim. And I'm working on some epic builds like this little harbor here, so got that, and I'm finding another big one up on top of a mountain. Hopefully it works out for me. I will see you guys in another video. Bye bye.